There's been a lot of rockers through the years who have cheated death in rock and roll. One for sure is ex-lead singer of Three Dog Night, Chuck Negron. We talked to him about how bad things got. I'm John Bowden from rockhistorymusic.com. I mean, Keith Richards is not the only guy who we thought would be dead a long time ago. I'm surprised Jimmy Page is still with us. But considering how many rockers we have lost in the last 2-3 years, it seems like hundreds. By the time Three Dog Night broke up in 1976, Chuck Negron was knee-deep in a heroin addiction, and it took multiple trips to rehab until he finally got clean in 1991. Three Dog Night got back together in 1981, but Negron only stayed till 85. His two singing cohorts, Danny Hutton and Cory Wells, kept it going though. Unfortunately, Wells died in 2015 at the age of 74. The three singers had an amazing backing band. Keyboardist Jimmy Greenspoon died in 2015, he was 67, and bassist Joe Schermie passed away in 2002 at 56. Danny Hutton and guitarist Michael Allsup are the only two original members going way back to the heyday that are still with Three Dog Night, and they're still touring. Chuck Negron's book, Three Dog Nightmare, is a real reality check for anyone who's ever grappled with any kind of addiction. And when I had a chance to finally talk to him after all these years, I told him a poignant part of the book when he's at Cry Help, which is a non-profit recovery organization in Hollywood, how at one point he stops and he asks God to take him away because he's in so much pain, or at least give him 60 seconds of peace. That's how bad it got. I asked him about that moment.
Oh yeah, I was in Cry Help. You do not get medication. You kick cold turkey. So I was kicking, decades of addiction. I also was on methadone. So I was kicking methadone, which is a horrific thing. I think you could die from it. So my body was screaming for some relief because there's no sleep. You can't sleep. So you with your thoughts and your pain and your body that every fiber, every nerve is alive, demanding some sort of comfort. And I couldn't take it anymore. I hadn't slept. I was exhausted. I couldn't eat. I was throwing up off for days. And I was told that I needed to pray, and that was my prayer. Please, just let me die. Or give me a moment's relief from this relentless obsession of the body and the mind. And I fell asleep, and the relief came immediately.
That's Chuck Negron, who sang lead vocals on 7 of the 21 top 40 hits from Three Dog Night. Interestingly, Danny Hutton only sang lead vocals on 2 of their hits, and he's the only one still in the band as a lead singer. I told Chuck that I had talked to Dan Peek before he died. Dan was one of the 3 original singers in the band America. He left in 1977. He told me that he was a little screwed up, had taken some drugs, wanted to get clean, found religion, and found some peace after leaving America. But Dan had also written a book, and I told Chuck the reason for him, he kept saying I would remember new old stories to put in my book. And my life was progressing, and I wanted to add that to the book as well. So I asked Chuck why he was releasing a new edition of Three Dog Nightmare.
As a human being, I wrote that story in my 5th year of recovery. In my 25th, I rewrote it, and what Dan said is very true. Just as a human being, your life is transcendent, and you grow, and your perspective changes. Plus, you do remember stuff. And I painted a picture in the early book that I did not want anything that looked like I was doing a disclaimer why I did. Well, I did this because of drugs. I did this because of this. I did this because they were terrible to me. I wanted to own all of the baggage, so to speak. 25 years later, I wanted people, since it was already in the book, I wanted people to see another perspective of addiction, and that's what it does. So you see things differently, and many things happen in that time. So I wanted to paint another accurate picture.
From 1969 to 1975, Three Dog Night had 21 top 40 hits. That's amazing. They did the big shows all over the world. And we're going to have more from our chat with Chuck Negron about hanging out with Elton John before anyone knew who Elton John really was, backstage and touring a little bit at least with Led Zeppelin, and some of the almost disturbing reasons why Three Dog Night, even when they could before Cory Wells died, never got back together as a trio. Go to chucknegron.com to pick up his book. You can pre-order it now, the 4th edition of Three Dog Nightmare. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Bowden from Rock History Music.